Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living, La Crescenta, where it's our dream to help you build and manifest your dreams. Today, assisting us in our service are Cecilia Sellis, our wonderful pianist, Susan Zollinger, our soloist, and Reverend Mary Morgan will be our practitioner on the platform today. And I want to say to everyone who is supporting this center financially, we so appreciate it, particularly in these times when we're not having church in person.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, Yuletide carols being sung by a choir, and folks dressed up like Eskimos. Everybody knows a turkey and some mistletoe help to make the season bright. Tiny tots with their eyes all aglow will find it hard to sleep tonight. They know that Santa's on his way. He's loaded lots of toys and goodies on his sleigh, and every mother's child is gonna spy to see if reindeer really know how to fly. And so I'm offering this simple phrase to kids from 1 to 92. Although it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas to you. They know that Santa's on his way. He's loaded lots of toys and goodies on his sleigh, and every mother's child is gonna spy to see if reindeer really know how to fly. And so I'm offering this simple phrase to kids from 1 to 92. Although it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas to you.
Good morning. Please join with me in our affirmative prayer as we know together there is one power, and that power is God. And that power is almighty, and it is the very heart and soul of my being. It is what I rely upon and what I know as my truth. And so as I move through my day, today and always, I keep in my mind that God is and I am, and that power knows no bounds. And so I remind myself every day if I face a challenge or a difficulty or anything that I feel like I can't figure out, I turn inside and know that the truth is within me, and I go to God and tell God Please handle this. I know it's in your court. And through me, the right words, the right actions, the right feelings, all things work out just as planned. And so I am willing right now to let go of whatever might be stopping or blocking me from my good showing up, from the right relationships, from the creative inspiration, from all the abundance of the world. I right now know my perfect health, know the goodness experienced through me as me. And so I just breathe in and I relax and know that God is in charge. And as I release this prayer into the law, I know that it is done, it is taken care of, it is finished, it is final, and all is well. With great thanks, with great deep thanks, I release this, and together we affirm, and so it is.
Now please join me in singing, and so it is. God is all there is. I am one with the Spirit. I realize the truth, and I speak it. I am thankful for it all. I release it. I let it go. And so it is. And so it is. I know it is. And I receive as I believe. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Good morning, everyone. And now we'll have a reading from the Science of Mind book written by Ernest Holmes on page 431 called The Secret of Prayer. The secret of prayer and its power in the outward life depends upon an unconditional faith in and reliance upon this inner presence. We must enter the closet. That is, we are to shut out all else and enter into the presence of Spirit in quietness and confidence, believing. Prayer has power, not through repetition, but by belief and acceptance. Prayer is to be simple, direct, and receiving. We are to believe that God indwells in our own life, that this divine presence is sufficient for all needs. We are to believe that God will provide for and bless us abundantly. And when we enter the secret place, we are to leave all else behind, all hate, animosity, and vindictiveness, for only in doing so can we enter.
Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things. Cream-colored ponies and crisp apple strudels, doorbells and sleigh bells and schnitzel with noodles, wild geese that fly with the moon on their wings. These are a few of my favorite things. Girls in white dresses with blue satin sashes, snowflakes that stay on my nose and eyelashes, silver white winters that melt into springs. These are a few of my favorite things. When the dog bites, when the bee bee stings when I'm feeling sad. I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things. Cream-colored ponies and crisp apple strudel, doorbells and sleigh bells and schnitzel with noodles, wild geese that fly with the moon on their wings. These are a few of my favorite things. Girls in white dresses with blue satin sashes, snowflakes that stay on my nose and eyelashes, silver white winters that melt into springs. These are a few of my favorite things. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad.
We visited blessings in early November, but at this particular time, I think it's really, really important that we count our blessings with everything that's going on in the world. So from the Science of Mind Glossary, page 577, a blessing is a constructive thought directed toward anyone or any condition. You bless a person when you recognize their divinity. You bless a business when you think correctly about that business. You bless a plant when you tell a plant how beautiful it is. And from the Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes, every day and every hour, we are meeting the eternal realities of life. And in such degree as we cooperate with these eternal realities in love, in peace, in wisdom, and in joy, believing and receiving, we are automatically blessed. Our prayer is answered before it is uttered. Before it is uttered. I can't say enough about praying and blessing others. I just would like to see everyone make that a part of their spiritual practices. Sometimes situations happen to us that we feel like it's the end of the world. While we are in the midst of something challenging, our entire attention most often is focused on the challenge. Feelings of confusion, anger, and or disappointment result. These feelings are natural and a first response to not having our own way. What if we could understand that whatever is happening is pointing us in a positive direction, regardless of appearances? Struggling to make something happen may be an indication it wasn't supposed to happen. And as I mentioned before, and I don't have to tell you this, I don't believe there's a person around that doesn't say this year has been a challenging year. And the interesting part about it is, and probably this is a worn out phrase, but we're all in this together. We are all in this together. I don't think there's anyone who doesn't know someone who has had the COVID. I just got an email from my son today, and he said that, and I still don't understand how he escaped. His wife and stepson had COVID. His mother-in-law ended up in the hospital, and he and his daughter went to a cabin and stayed there for a couple of weeks until everybody got well. And they never got it. They never got the COVID. But he said it was really chaotic. And I can only imagine that it was. When these kinds of things happen, what can we do? There are a couple of things we can do. Of course, pray first. But the next thing that we do, my friends, is count our blessings. So in preparation for this lesson, I was going back, and counting my blessings from the time I was very, very young. And I remember one, it's kind of an interesting story, I think. My dad was in World War II and overseas, and his general was going to be in Burbank, I think. We were here in California with my mother's parents, my grandparents, while my dad was overseas. And so we were going to go to Burbank, and we were going to see this general. And I was little. I was probably 3. And my mom said, look, there's your dad's general. Well, he was up in a rotunda, and I was down here, and there were a bunch of people up there, and I couldn't see him. I didn't know. I kept saying, I can't see him. A man even put me on his shoulders, and I said, I can't see him. But the point is, it was a blessing that I even got to go there with my mom. It was a blessing. And then moving further, we went back to Nebraska, where I'm from, after my dad got out of the Army. And I remember the day my dad came home, my grandfather was so happy that he came home alive. And so he brought out everything. My grandfather brought out all kinds of food and drink and celebrated. And we all celebrated because that was a blessing. That was a blessing. And then I'm remembering, and see, the reason I'm doing this chronologically, I'd like you all to do the same thing. Go back in your life and bring forth the blessings. Now, my mom was very positive, and she said, guess what? You're 4 years old. When you're 5, you get to go to school, and you get to learn, you get to read, and you're going to be so happy, and it's going to be so much fun. She prepared me. She prepaved me to go to school and enjoy it. And it was interesting because I remember my first day of school. A lot of parents didn't prepare their kids, and I remember kids crying. And I remembering going to them and putting my arms around them and saying, we're going to learn. This is going to be fun. But the kids were frightened because the parents had just dropped them off. So it was a blessing that my mother prepared me for this. And there's also some humor in it too, because there were so many things, Santa Claus visiting and the Easter Bunny and those kinds of things. And I have to be honest and say, even though I was getting older, I still played the game. Finally, one Easter, my mom said, I think it's time you help me with the little ones' Easter baskets. I think you don't have to worry about the Easter Bunny bringing you anything anymore. And that was just fine. That was a blessing. That was a blessing to me. It was a blessing when I graduated from high school. I graduated one day, came out here the next. And the way my family is, you get a job. My grandmother took me on the bus downtown to Los Angeles, and I went to an agency, and it was called Nancy Nolan at the time, and I was sent to Dun & Bradstreet to interview for a job. I got the job, had that job for 1.5 years until I went to college. But I had a job right away. And my grandmother was so pleased because we lived in Sunland, California, and the bus left from Sunland Park, and I worked at 6th and Main, and the bus went right into the building where I worked, and I just had to take an elevator upstairs. And it was great. It was a great experience for me. It was like being in school because we were called manifold typists. We typed credit reports. And every day, at the end of the day, they did a line count. And you'd better keep your line count up or you wouldn't have a job. And so that was a blessing. It taught me to be very careful about the work I did. And then I met my children's father, and we were married. That's another story. I guess I'll share it with you, because his sister was married July 22nd, 1961. A big wedding, a big Catholic wedding. And a week to the day later, we secretly eloped. We thought secretly eloped. What we didn't know was that when you are married in Las Vegas, they send the announcement back to the paper where you live. So here comes my neighbor with the paper to my grandparents' house. They knew we were engaged. They wanted to have us to have a church wedding. So I was kind of in trouble, but not that much. I called him, and he says, I'm going to come and get you. Eventually, we had our own apartment. We had 2 beautiful kids. Blessings. Families are blessings. And I have to say that my in-laws were the most wonderful people. I was so fortunate to know them. They were 100% Norwegian. I remember my father-in-law saying, I'm a pedigree. And I thought, well, dogs have papers. Maybe people do too. But he was just joking. But wonderful, wonderful people. That was a blessing. To know that family was a blessing. And even when my children's father and I divorced, they kept me. They still keep me. The nieces and nephews still call me Aunt Beverly. So I've been blessed with that relationship. And then this is God knows what God's doing, my friends. So several years ago, there was going to be an anniversary at the Granada Hills Church. And someone called me and said, are you coming? I go, I don't like to drive distances. And they said, well, Reverend Mary Morgan lives in La Crescenta where you live, and maybe you can ride with her. And I did. And we've been friends ever since. She took that friendship even further, my friends, and nominated me for a Doctor of Divinity, which I received earlier this year. That was a blessing. So do you see, this is why I'm asking you to do this. I'm asking you to go chronologically in your life, and you will find blessings all along the way. Now, let's go a little bit further with this. Bless your friends. Bless them silently or bless them in person. Bless the plants in your yard. I talk to my car. I bless my car. My car is, let me see, which incarnation is this? I've been driving Chevrolet Impala since 2002. And I think the first one was Alexander, and then Alexander the First, and then Sir Alexander. But I have to tell you, in the late 50s, you can start calculating ages if you want to, the first Impalas came out, and I wanted an Impala so badly. Guess what? It took me 42 years to get my first one. And I've been driving them ever since. And now, I don't know what this means, my friends, but last year was the last year they made Impalas. So I guess I'll drive this one till it drops. But you see, that was a blessing. I got my Impala. See, all of these things happen this way. And probably most of all, science of mind is a blessing. It's a blessing because we can go back to principle. We can pray and know that our prayers from our mouths to God's ears, so to speak, into the divine law of mind. And as we use our feeling nature for our prayers, oh my goodness, miracles happen. Miracles happen because that's what is intended for our lives. So bless you, Bless your families. Have a wonderful Christmas. And so ends our lesson.
Good morning again, and please join me in the offertory affirmation. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless. It is evidence of my conviction that God is the source and substance of my supply. I joyously contribute to the vision of this spiritual center, knowing that it returns to me multiplied abundantly, and so it is. And in the energy of this beautiful affirmation, we want to thank you in advance for your generous donations, and thank you again, knowing that the tithes that you present to this center keep this teaching going, inspire people, and if you are inspired by these talks, by these affirmations, by these readings, and by our beautiful Reverend Beverly, then please know that your support is very vital to the sustenance of this center, and we thank you so much.
Now please join me in singing, I Am So Blessed. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so thankful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so thankful, I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so thankful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so thankful, I am so blessed.
Good morning, and thanks for tuning in this morning. It's time for the Sunday Funny. A minister waited in line to have his car filled with gas just before a long holiday weekend. The attendant worked quickly, but there were many cars ahead of him. And finally, the attendant motioned him toward a vacant pump. "Reverend," said the young man, "I'm so sorry about the delay. It seems as if everyone waits until the last minute to get gas before a long trip." The minister chuckled. "I know what you mean. It's the same way in my business." And then we have a little short one that is appropriate for the times. Or maybe appropriate for the times. There was a story about the pastor who got up on Sunday and mentioned to his congregation, "I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is we have enough money for our new building program. The bad news is it's still in your pockets."
And now the benediction. Please close your eyes, put your hand on your heart. Make these words your words. Something wonderful is happening through you right now. It's happening through your mind and your body and every aspect of your life. You think it and you know it. You believe it and you accept it. You are never alone, for God is right where you are. And so it is.
Now please join me in singing the peace song. Let there be peace on earth, now it has begun with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our power, united all are we. Let let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Peace has begun with me, so this is the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, now it has